spectators and professional critics do share the same idea of what is a good movie or a poor movie. But at the end of the day, they will go and see movies that they don't actually think belong to the Hall of Fame of best movies of all times just because they want to be entertained. As a manufacturing firm, what you would do is you would produce a product. You would do that to the standards that are required of you, that you impose on yourself, and then you would sell the product and try to make a profit out of the sale. Now, things become slightly more complicated when you're dealing with the creative industries, because obviously here you've got other dimensions of performance, some of them incommensurable, and different stakeholders than just the customer at the end of the value chain. There are 6 key findings of this research, and they are actually mentioned in the bridge video as well. The first one is that we are not measuring things right. Most of the research on motion picture performance actually makes the assumption of a normal distribution of revenues in cinema, which is absolutely wrong. Actually, the distribution of revenues in cinema is highly skewed, with a lot of movies not making that much money or actually losing money, and very few movies making a lot of money. So what I suggest here, my first suggestion is basically to use non-normal distribution models to actually better account for what's happening in cinema. The second finding is that we are not measuring the right things, in the sense that most studies actually focus on box office performance and on theatrical performance, domestic theatrical performance, when lots of revenues actually now also come from television, from DVD, from Blu-ray, from digital, from foreign markets, and we should take those into account as well. The third key learning of the research is that the dimensions of performance interact. So the artistic dimension of performance will impact negatively or positively the commercial dimension of performance, and vice versa. Stars actually get people to the movie theaters to watch the movie. But in actual fact, what they do is they appropriate most of the rent that they create through their fees. So at the end of the day, casting a big star in a movie may not be the best idea in terms of optimizing the return on investment of the film. Fifth, the assumption that professional critics know better than spectators may actually be completely wrong, because at the end of the day, what is actually shown by the research is that spectators and professional critics do share the same idea of what is a good movie or a poor movie. But at the end of the day, they will go and see movies that they don't actually think belong to the Hall of Fame of best movies of all times just because they want to be entertained. And they will also, in other occasions, they will go and see those movies with groups of friends to be entertained together. So that's the typical example of that is a group of girlfriends going out on a Saturday night after a long week of working, a group of girlfriends going out to see Sex and the City and then sipping margaritas in a bar after the screening. And that's a social outing, not based actually on the perceived quality of the movie. The sixth finding of the study is that there is a very strong national preference going on in the film industry. In other words, if a spectator perceives that the level of entertainment of 2 movies is equal, they will go and see the local product rather than the import. The Bridge Video Initiative is really a modest attempt for me to bridge academic journal research with industry professionals, industry practitioners, and the general audience. The opening point of the video is William Goldman's very famous quote that nobody knows anything. And this quote actually has become a mantra in the film industry. Well, what the research shows is that actually quite a few people know something, and some people actually know a lot about motion picture performance. It's very likely, and it's actually highly possible, that us academics don't know, on some dimensions, don't know at all as much as industry professionals. And that's also the purpose of this study, and the purpose of the Bridge Video Initiative to communicate the study is to engage forcefully in a dialogue with industry professionals, with the idea that pulling together our knowledge and our understanding of the industry, we will learn even more than what we know at the moment. What is particularly heartening is the positive reactions from the industry, which actually shows that maybe the video is accomplishing its modest purpose of bridging the gap between academic journal research and the professional world, the industry.